Okay,
All
Mr.
right. Miss Perlinda and Dr. Zahir. So once again, good morning, everyone. Again, welcome to our Wally Enterprise Solutions instructor training for University of Malaya. And once again, my name is Rojhelyn Balat. I'm actually based in Singapore at Wiley. And together with me, the call as well is Angela. She's also based in Singapore as well. So again, welcome to the call. So let me go ahead and share my screen now so we can get started. And I'm happy to see that this the recording has started. So it's good to have the session recorded so we can share it at the end of today's session. So let me go ahead and share my screen now. Right. Okay. So right now I'm sharing my screen. I believe you're viewing it.
Yes, we are.
Yes,
Okay.
Raj.
Okay, great. So again, welcome to the call. And for today's session, it will be more about like what Ms. Verlinda shared earlier, that we will be conducting this online training for instructors at University of Malaya. And will be more about Wally Enterprise solutions that are already integrated in your learning management system, which is Spectrum. And again, welcome to today's session, to those who have just joined us. And Ms. Perlinda already shared housekeeping earlier before we started. So again, we encourage everyone to place all your lines on mute if it's not automatic. And there will also be a Q&A session at the end. Since this will be a large group, we encourage that you type your question at the chat box, or you may want to raise your hand if you have a question, and then we will have time to go through the questions during the presentation or at the end of the session as well during the Q&A. So again, this is just to add on to the housekeeping rules that Ms. Perlinda shared earlier. And what we will cover in today's session, like was mentioned earlier, today is more about training the instructors with the objective of getting them to know how to access Wally digital solutions in Spectrum. So our enterprise solution like eText, Wileyplus, and Wally Efficient Learning test prep materials. These are Wally digital solutions that are already integrated in Spectrum. So today's session, we will cover how instructors access these solutions in Spectrum. We will also cover in today's session how instructors are able to integrate Wally eText and Wileyplus into your course in Spectrum as well. So aside from where and how to these materials, you will also know how to integrate specific content, specific materials like eText and Wileyplus into your individual courses. And lastly, the next topic that we will cover is how to deploy, for instructors on how to deploy Wileyplus assignments in your course. And these assignments include readings, like chapter readings. It may also include like quizzes and any other assessment form of activities like quizzes or exercises. You will also get to learn how to deploy these activities into your course in Spectrum, and also how to view grades and progress of your students. So these are the things that we will cover in today's session, and we hope that we will be able to finish by 12:30 p.m. And again, it really depends on the engagement. If there are questions, if there's more interaction, we will probably be able to finish it by 12:30. And if not, of course, we will be able to set some other time if there's a requirement to do another instructor training. Wiley is on standby. We are always ready to support the instructors of University of Malaya. So these are the topics that we will cover today, and we hope that you will enjoy the session. And then we also continue to collaborate and work together with the instructors, and at the same time with the students, and of course with the ADEC team as well. So you will probably start to ask yourself, what are Wally Enterprise Solutions? So you, at this point in time during the COVID situation, this is now the period wherein instructors they are forced, so-called forced, to transition their courses to go online. So with all these transition to go digital, to go online, given the current situation, it is actually a known question always coming from the instructors, like where do I get the resources if I am going to deliver the contents, the course online? Where should I get the resources and how should I deliver the courses given that I have access to Spectrum? So we are happy to share with you that this partnership with University of Malaya and with Wiley, we are able to provide instructors and students access to a collection of digital textbooks. At the moment, all instructors and students now have access to 17,000 digital textbooks. These are reading contents both available online and offline, and they are available in Spectrum. So we're happy to say that if you are, if you're concerned about contents, if you're concerned about teaching materials, learning materials for the students, everything is now ready and they are all provided integrated in Spectrum. So we are happy to know, and we are happy to let you know that you have access to the collection of Wiley digital textbooks. The other collection, which is part of the Wiley Enterprise Solutions that we provide to University of Malaya, is a collection of Wileyplus contents and resources. So many of you, or maybe some of you, may have heard about Wileyplus. Wileyplus is our complete teaching and learning online tool with not just the reading contents or the digital version of the textbook, but Wileyplus also has access to multimedia resources like videos, animations, interactive study tools, etc. These are learning materials available for instructors and students as well. And while widely used globally, we have success cases and stories in the US and the UK, across the world, and this is really something that we are also happy to share, that also has access to these materials, not just the reading contents, but they also have access even to the interactive materials like video simulations and all other multimedia resources. The third collection of Wiley Enterprise Solutions that we offer to University of Malaya, aside from the digital textbooks, aside from the multimedia resources, we also provide University of Malaya instructors and students access to test prep materials and exam reviews. So if students, or even for instructors, if you are preparing yourself to take certification exams for CPA, CFA, CMA, or PMP, if you are preparing yourself for these exams, we have these exam reviewers, test prep materials available for you as well. So these are materials on top of the textbooks, on top of the multimedia resources. These are test prep materials available for you. So if you're preparing, maybe if you're taking some CPA, CFA, CMA, or PMP certification exams, we have these materials that are really helpful as you go through with your preparation for this certification examination. So we are delighted to share that we have all these enterprise solutions available now in Spectrum. You don't have to go anywhere else, or go to YouTube or anywhere else in online, but these materials are readily made available and accessible in Spectrum to all University of Malaya instructors and students. Now, the next part of today's session, I won't have to go through slides here. This is just to give you an overview, and I think very importantly is for me to go ahead and start my demo. So I'll start my demo now, and definitely when I do my demo, I'm going in to log into Spectrum. I think that will be the best way for me to show you where and how to access the Wiley Enterprise Solution. So I'm going to start my demo now by logging into Spectrum. .um.edu.my, and I'll be logging in as an instructor. So I'm sharing my screen. I'm already in Spectrum. Let me know if you're still seeing the slide earlier, or are you now able to view the Spectrum website? May I confirm? Okay.
Yes, Raj, we can see Spectrum.
All right, great. So now I'm logged in. So I'm going to go ahead and do the demo to show you how to access, where to find these materials. So all you need to do is you just log into Spectrum. So if you're an instructor, you should have your Spectrum account. Just log into Spectrum with your username and password. And once you're logged in, directly you will see all the courses that you are enrolled, whether if you're enrolled as an instructor or whether you're enrolled as a student. Once you're logged into Spectrum, you will find all your courses. Now, you may not be able to find Wiley contents straight away once you're logged in, depending really on how many courses you are enrolled. Let's say if you're enrolled in 10 courses, you're enrolled as a teacher or as an instructor in 10 courses, then you will find all 10 courses. And you may not be able to find Wiley content straight away once you're logged in. So it's a good practice for you when you do a search for Wiley contents. All you need to do is just go to courses. And when you go to courses, just type in the word Wiley, all right? Search the course with the keyword Wiley, click the magnifying glass, and the results will show 4 courses. And the courses are named as Wiley Digital Textbooks, Wiley Sample Integrated Course, Wiley Efficient Learning Test Prep Materials, and Wileyplus Digital Resources. This is the easiest way for you to find where the Wiley contents are located in Spectrum. So just type the word Wiley under the search box, and then it will give you the results. So these are the Wiley collection of contents. So I'm going to walk you through these collection of contents. First thing is the Wiley Digital Textbooks. The second thing is the Wileyplus Digital Resources. And then I'll proceed with Wiley Efficient Learning Test Prep. And lastly would be showing you a sample Wiley integrated course with specific Wileyplus and Wiley eText contents. As an instructor, you'll be able to customize your course by pulling specific contents from Wiley collection. So let me now and start doing my demo for Wiley Digital Textbook. So as I mentioned earlier, there are 3 collections, all right? So again, these are 3 different collection of contents. So I'm going to start off with Wiley Digital Textbooks. So as you can see, we have uploaded 17,000 digital textbooks in Spectrum, and you have access to both online and offline reading materials available in Wiley Digital Textbooks. So you will find that here. Go for Wiley, you will find Wiley Digital Textbooks. You can go ahead and click the link. That will bring you to the course Wiley Digital Textbooks. So it will bring you to this page under Wiley Digital Textbooks, and this page is where the Wiley, the collection, the 17,000 digital textbooks are actually located. These contents, these e-textbooks are hosted in a platform we call Vitalsource Explorer. All right, and this platform, Vitalsource Explorer, hosts this 17,000 digital textbooks, and this platform is integrated in this particular course under Wiley Digital Textbooks. You will find that link as you click here, access the Vitalsource Explorer here. So when you click the link, access the Vitalsource Explorer here, it will open up in a new tab that will bring you to Vitalsource Explorer. So Vitalsource Explorer, again, this is the that hosts all the 17,000 digital textbooks provided to University of Malaya instructors and students. So as you can see, as I click the link, it's now open up in a new tab, and it's bringing me to Vitalsource Explorer. So welcome to Wiley Digital Textbooks full collection. You now have access to 17,000 digital textbooks. So this is some kind of an online library where instructors and students can just go in, click the link in that Spectrum course, Wiley Digital Textbooks, and once you click the link, it will bring you to Wiley Digital Textbooks full collection under Vitalsource Explorer. So let me go ahead and navigate through Vitalsource Explorer. As you can see,
yes, I'm trying to log in, and I am not seeing the full collection yet. So it asks me for my email, and there's option to put in the emails or to skip the step. So what do I do?
Oh, you need to enter the email address, Dr. Zahir.
Okay.
Don't skip the step. It's good to enter your email address. That is important to authenticate your account. So please enter your email address, which is the same email address that you log into Spectrum.
All right.
Yeah. Let me know if it works now.
Yeah, I'm so
Okay.
actually it's asking me to put in my password, which I'm not. I think I forgot the password.
Okay. You can maybe you try to reset your password.
Okay.
If that's the case.
Alright.
Sorry, may I jump in, Dr. Zahir?
Yeah.
Are you trying to create a bookshelf account at this point in time?
Well, yeah, it says here, welcome to Bookshelf.
Yeah, so if you have not have any account before, then you need to actually create an account.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to start to create an account, then a form for you to fill up. Yeah, so if you are new to Bookshelf, the very first step is do not skip the step, but create a Bookshelf account. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All
very
right.
much.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, Raj, you may proceed.
Sure. Thanks for that information, Angela. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and proceed with Vitalsource Explorer now. So again, if I go back, where I get into this Vitalsource Explorer, again, I did that when I went into Wally Digital Textbooks. I'll just click Access the Vitalsource Explorer here. So when you click this link, Access the Vitalsource Explorer here, it will open up a new tab, and that will bring you to Vitalsource Explorer. This is the online library where you will have access to 17,000 digital textbooks. So let me go ahead and navigate through Vitalsource Explorer. The easiest way to find a textbook, again, because this is digital, this is online, the easiest way to find a digital textbook is just to type in a keyword when you do a search for a specific book or for a specific content. You can type in and then click the magnifying glass to search. You can also scroll down. It will give you some options, some like top picks for you. These are the Wally e-textbooks available, which are automatically created links as top picks for you. And if you scroll all the way down, you will also find the trending titles, Wiley trending titles all here. You can also do that. And if you scroll further down, you will also get to see what are the recently added titles, and you will also find titles under different subject categories like business and economics. And scroll further down, sciences, technology and engineering, and so on. So you can you feel free to explore the titles by subject categories, or if you already have a specific book in mind, all you need to do is just type in a keyword right here at the search box, and then click search. So for example, I want to try, let's say, mechanics as an example. Say I'm trying to look for textbooks under mechanics. So all I need to do, just type in the word mechanics, and then I'll click search. So now it will pull all the textbooks with mechanics, under mechanics, and it will display here in one page. So as you can see, there are book matches under mechanics, and these are all the digital textbooks available. So there's plenty of digital textbooks. Again, you have access to 17,000 digital textbooks, and even for just mechanics subject alone, you will get to have so many textbooks to select from. So maybe, for example, let's say I want to go ahead and maybe when I do my search for mechanics, I find that there is this discrete mechanics that I'm interested. Or maybe if I'm an instructor, I'm teaching mechanics, this is the textbook that I also want my students use as additional readings or as their reference for their course. So what I can do, once I found that book, all right, I'll just click on the book details, all right, so to have a quick view of this particular textbook, and it will bring me to the a little bit of information about the publisher, about when this is published, the VBID, which is the specific to the book. This is the unique identifier of the book. This is the VBID or the ISBN, and it will give you some very brief description of what this book is all about. And if you're ready to use this book, let's say, okay, this is the book that I want. I want this book, I want to start reading this book, I want to borrow this book from the library, all I need to do is just click open book, right? So when I click open book, okay, it will now launch this book. All right, so let me go ahead and open the book. It will now launch this book in the Vitalsource bookshelf. So as you can see right here, okay, after I open the book, you're now seeing the front cover of the book like you normally would in a printed textbook. You have a front cover, so you will see here the front cover of the book. You can actually scroll down or move to different pages and so on, but the easiest way to navigate through the different pages or chapters of the book, you'll just click on the table of contents icon right at the left side. So you will see here the table of contents icon. Just click the table of contents icon and it will allow you to jump into specific pages, specific chapter, or specific section of the textbook itself. So in this example, let's say I want to go into chapter 1, then I can start reading about framework of discrete mechanics. I can click chapter 1, and when I go into chapter 1, I can even jump into a specific section of chapter 1. So let's say I want to jump into specific section 1.1 of chapter 1. I'll just click that. And now it starts to pull up section 1.1 of this particular textbook. So as you can see, this is section 1.1, right? And I can quickly go through, start reading it. It's like a normal printed textbook that you can go into a specific page and then you can start reading the content. And then you can also jump into other sections or other chapter of the book, and then that will also direct you to that specific material. Now, once you are here, as an example, let's say we are in chapter 1.1. When you are reading a textbook, there are key features while you're using this digital textbook. Right now, you are accessing the textbook online. You are connected to Vitalsource Explorer under your Spectrum. So you are connected to the internet, so you're accessing the content online. When you're online, you are also able to, do highlighting, adding notes, etc. So like you normally do in a printed textbook, if you carry a print book with you, if you want to make some highlights to important text, or you also want to add in notes to your highlighted text, you can do that in a printed textbook. You can also do the same thing when you are using the digital textbook. So like in this case, for example, I'm in chapter 1.1. As I read through the text, I can make highlights. For example, all I can do is I'll just move my mouse over to the text to create a highlight. And in that case, once I highlight the text, I can color it. Maybe, again, you can manage all your highlighters, your colors and all. You can do that. So in that case, you can just highlight a text. For example, I'll highlight it with, in this case, orange. This means that this text is important. That's why I'm highlighting it. And usually when you make highlights, you also would like to add notes to your highlighted text. So what you can do, once you have highlighted it, you can just click on that highlighted text, and then you can simply just add a note. So in this case, I'm going to add a note, important. Let's say I want to add in important information for review. Okay, I can add a personalized note into my highlighted text and say, example, this is an important information for review. And then once I do that, you will notice that in my highlighted text, right beside my highlighted text, there is a sticky note icon. That indicates a note being added right beside the highlighted text. So you can do as many highlights, as many notes as you can. Perhaps if I go back to, maybe I want to go back to chapter, let's say I want to go to chapter 2. Let's say I'll make another highlight as I read through the content, and I go to, let's say, chapter 2.2 under 3 fundamental experiments. Let's say I read through chapter 2.2 after chapter 1, and I find an important information in chapter 2.2, and I want to highlight it and add my notes here as well. So let's say this is an important note for me. I'll just highlight it with blue, right? And then after I make a highlight, I probably would want to add a note. So I'll just click on my highlighted text, and then I'll add a note. So this one probably I need to clarify and discuss with my students. Right? So you can personalize it. Since it's your note, you can personalize it, then you can add a note right here beside the text. So once you have added a note right beside the text, as you can see, there's a sticky note icon indicating that there is a note added right beside the text, and that note says to clarify and discuss with my students. Now you can do as many highlights, as many notes as you can within the content. You're only opening up this book. You can make highlights and notes as many as you can within the content. Now the next question you may have in mind is, what if I have so many notes, I have so many highlights already, and I cannot keep track of the important information which I have highlighted? Where do I go? Should I just flip page by page or go chapter by chapter, right? So that's the question you may have now in mind. So the answer to that is very simple. There is this little icon right below the table of icons. There's a magnifying glass to do a search. If you want to go for, if you want to search for a specific topic or keyword, you can just type in the topic or the keyword here under the search box. But in terms of all your highlights and notes and all your activities, they are actually summarized under the notebook icon. So this notebook icon, as you can see, as I navigate through it in the left side, below the table of contents, there's a magnifying glass to do the search, and there is this notebook icon. So when I click the notebook icon, it will show all the notes and the highlighted text that I've made within the textbook, right? I can sort it out, I can filter it, I can do that right here and organize it the way I want to organize my notes and highlights. I can do that right here in the notebook icon. So there's a notebook icon. It will bring you to your highlights and notes straight away within this notebook functionality. So as you can see earlier, I've made 2 highlights. Let's say at the moment I'm in the page where I have my highlighted text in blue. Now I want to go back to my earlier highlight and note. Then I can just simply go into my notebook, and then I can find that from here, which is in chapter 1. And then you can see this is under chapter 1, framework of discrete mechanics. And for me to go directly to that highlighted text, all I need to do is just click that highlight right here in notebook. I'll click that highlight, and then after I click, it will bring me to that specific text of chapter 1. So I don't have to flip page by page or search for that highlighted text chapter by chapter. Just go in to my notebook, click that specific link to the highlighted text, and it brings me straight away to the content itself, to where that highlighted text is found. Then I can already go into the content, and maybe I can go ahead and review the text and so on. Then I can do that. So it's very easy to use with a digital textbook. Just imagine that you're reading a print textbook, but you're just doing it in a digital format. So you can make highlights, you can add notes, you can even share your notes and highlights to your students if you find it important. So sharing notes and highlights with your students, or even for your students if they have their peers as well, they want to share their notes and highlights and so on, you can also do that as well. And all you need to do is just manage the sharing option, because that will also allow you to to share your notes and highlights to a specific student or to specific groups of students. You can do that, you can manage it. And where you can do that, okay, how do you add or manage your sharing of notes and highlights? Where you can do that is right here as well in Vitalsource bookshelf. Right within this book, there is this gear icon. If you follow my mouse, again, I'm going through the left side navigation panel. There are icons right here. There is this little gear icon right at the bottom at the left side, and that gear icon is the settings. All right, so if I click that gear icon, it will bring me to the settings, and this is where I'll be able to manage all the features I have with Vitalsource bookshelf. As I shared earlier, you can manage your highlights. Let's say I have here my highlighters. I can actually add in different colors of my highlighters, and I can also, indicate if that highlighter is more about, important notes or clarification notes, etc. I can manage my highlighters with colors right here under settings, highlighters. Okay. Now, managing your sharing of adding notes and highlights, all you need to do is just go into sharing. Again, right under settings with the gear icon, there is this sharing section right here. And when you click sharing, this will allow you to enter the email addresses of the students, right? For example, if you want your students to view all your notes and your highlights, then you can just add your students by entering their email address. So it's like the same thing as with social media, that you add or you connect with someone who wants to view your page, something like that. So if you want your students to view your notes and highlights, you can add in their email address, and your students will be able to receive a notification, then they can accept you, and then you both can share your notes and highlights. The other way for students to do, they can also add you. All right. So if students want to view your notes and highlights, your students will have to add you as who they're following, and then you can just simply accept the student's request, and then both of you can share your highlights and notes as well. So these are some of the features that are available in in Vitalsource Bookshelf. Navigating through the textbook. Reading through the textbook, as you can see, you're actually reading through the materials, through the contents, and you can interact, you can engage right within the content by you're adding your notes, by highlighting important text, by sharing your notes to your students or to your peers. You can do that within your Vitalsource Bookshelf. So right now, right, so what you're seeing here, all these features and the different functionalities Vitalsource Bookshelf with your e-textbook, you're actually doing it at the moment. You're seeing it through an online access. Right now, I'm still connected to Spectrum, connected to my internet connection at home. I can do that right here online. Now, you may start asking, what about if I go offline? Let's say I'm on the go, or maybe my students won't have access to internet if they are anywhere else with no Wi-Fi, or if there's a disruption in the internet or in the network. There is with Vitalsource capability, we are also able to provide offline access to all users. And it is important for instructors, for students, for them to be able to access the content offline. It is important that users will have to download the material. Of course, if you want to access offline, you need to save and download the content first, right? So important to note that if you want offline access, you need to download this e-textbook. And for you to download the e-textbook, where to do that? You need to do it online first before you can access it offline, because when you download it, you need to have internet connection up and running. So let's say I want this book to be available offline. So maybe later on, I probably won't have internet access, but I still want to continue reading the content. Then what I need to do, I have to download this book so that once it's downloaded, it will be saved in my device, in my laptop, in my computer, or even in my mobile phones. I need to download that content first so that even if I am on the go without internet, I will still be able to continue reading it offline. So how to download the content? So right in your online access, the same thing under the settings. Again, we are still under the settings section. There's a gear icon right at the bottom, right? And you'll have here all the options to manage the different functionalities. Now, to download this e-textbook so that it will be available offline, all you need to do is just click this little link right here. As you can see, read offline with Bookshelf desktop app. All right, I hope you can see it. So again, it's under settings. Just scroll all the way down under settings and you will see the link read offline with the Bookshelf desktop app. Okay, so click that link. All right, so if I click that link, it will prompt me to open my reader. So it's the same thing as when, for example, you're opening up a file and you want to download that file, you need to have a reader to download and to read that particular content. So after I click the link read offline, it brings me to open up my reader. The reader is what we call Vitalsource Bookshelf app. Okay, and if you haven't downloaded a textbook before, let's say for example, if it's your first time to open the textbook online and download it to make it accessible offline, the system will prompt you to install that reader. Of course, before you're able to download it, you need to have a reader installed in your computer. So if it's your first time, it will prompt you to install the Vitalsource Bookshelf. All you need to do is just continue with the installation process. Very quick and easy. Just to go through the installation process of this app. And once you are able to install the app, you will be prompted to create an account of that bookshelf app, and then just continue with the account creation and so on. And once you have installed and created your Vitalsource Bookshelf account, once you go back here online and click read offline, it will now bring you to click the Vitalsource Bookshelf app, which you have already installed. So in my case right here, I have already installed my Bookshelf app. In fact, I created, this is the Bookshelf app right here, if you can see right at the bottom. So this is the Vitalsource Bookshelf app, which I have already created very long time ago. So you just need to install the app. Once it's created, and launch the textbook from here, open Vitalsource Bookshelf. It will now open up this textbook through the Vitalsource Bookshelf app, which you have already installed, right? So as you can see, I'm trying to load this book. Let me close my app first right here, all right? So let me try again and click the Vitalsource Bookshelf app to read offline. So now, as you can see, it's opening up it's now directing me to my Bookshelf app. So now it's opening up the Vitalsource Bookshelf app, which I have already installed. And it will now bring me to my e-textbooks, which I have already downloaded. So this is my Bookshelf app right here, okay? So I have installed it. Once I click download offline, it will bring me to the app. So these are all the digital textbooks that I have already, downloaded offline. So as you can see, I have already a lot of textbooks in my Bookshelf app. These are all saved in my computer because the app is installed in my computer. So whenever I am on the go, maybe if now is not the time for traveling. So even if you are, let's say, if you are in flight, and you have no internet connection, you can continue reading with your contents and materials as long as the textbooks are downloaded. So the same thing for you, if you're traveling, you don't have internet, or you have some network issues, you can still continue to read through the content. Just make sure that you download the book. And once you have downloaded the book, the alert signs right here indicate that I haven't fully downloaded the textbook. So so that should be okay. But in your case, just download the textbook, so that when you download the textbook, for example, let's say I'll try to open up the book that I tried to open earlier, which is the book was about mechanics. Let me go ahead and find that. I couldn't find the book, but you should be able to find the book. Let me refresh it right here first. Should be able to find the book. Yeah, so once you have opened up the book, it will bring you to your app, and then you can pull that up from here. So let's say, let me just open up one book which I have fully downloaded. Let's say in this case, I'll just click the book. Let's say I have downloaded a book before, which is the offshore mechanics. I'll just click the book, and it brings me to the content. And from here, I can jump into specific chapter. Let's say I want to go to chapter 2, all here. This is the chapter 2 of the book. I can quickly continue my reading offline. And if I did highlights and notes within this book before, I can also view my highlights and notes under this highlight section. So as you can see, in this particular book, I made some highlights Maybe if I click this highlighted text, it will bring me straight away to the section of that book to which I made my highlight, and it should now bring me to the text to which this important for exam note has been added. So as you can see, it should bring me to here, right? And it should bring me to section 5.1. And where is this highlighted text? Oh, I should be able to find that right here. Okay, so basically, even if you have your online or offline access, whatever you do in your online access with your highlights and notes and all the activities, you will still be able to see them, you will still be able to view and access them when you are offline. And even the same thing when you are offline, if you want to make your notes and highlights offline, right when you connect back to your online access, all your activities offline will also sync with your online access, so you get to see both activities whether you are offline or online. So these are some of the key features using Wiley digital textbooks, using Vitalsource Bookshelf as an app for offline access, and with Vitalsource Explorer, which is the online library integrated in Spectrum. So let me go back to my Spectrum course. So for example, again, I'm back to my online access to where the textbook is being viewed and read. I can do that. And once again, this is the book itself. If I want to go back to my library, right, let me close my Vitalsource bookshelf right here. I'm going to go back to the library. I'll just go back to Spectrum, go to Wiley Digital Textbooks, click the Access Vitalsource Explorer here, and it will bring me back to Vitalsource Explorer to where I can find all the 17,000 digital textbooks. And right here, let me go ahead and open up the Vitalsource Explorer, right? So it's now opening up the library again, where I can select the book. And let's say, where do I know, how do I know what books I have already activated, what books I have already made some activities like highlights and notes? All you need to do, when you're logged into Wiley Digital Textbooks Full Collection, there is a library right here beside Explorer. When you go to library, it will show you all the books that you have already activated. So as you can see, in my case, I have already activated a number of books right here. So these are the books that I have already activated. So earlier, we have activated discrete mechanics. So I can see that it's already in my library. This is my personal library to show all the books that I have activated. And from here, I can continue reading and open up the book and then view my notes and highlights and continue my reading and study as well. So under library, you will find all the textbooks that you have activated with all the activities that you've made. And again, if you want to explore further, because you have access to 17,000, you're not limited to just 10 or 15, please feel free to browse through the library under Explorer, right? You have 17,000 textbooks. At the moment, there's no limit as to how many students, how many users can borrow a book, all right? In a typical library, let's say you have physical books, you probably only will have 10 copies per textbook, right? Let's say in mechanics textbook, you probably would have only 10 textbooks available and only 10 students, 10 users can borrow the book. If I am a user and I want to borrow that book, I need to wait for another user to return the book back to the library so I can borrow it myself. In the case of digital textbooks with your access to Wally digital textbooks in Spectrum, there's no limit. You can have all your students. If you find that this mechanics textbook is relevant and important for your students, you can get all your students in your class right on day one have access to the textbook. They don't have to wait for anyone else to return the book back to the library, or they don't have to buy the textbook from anywhere else, like they need to buy from bookshop or bookstore or any retailers. They don't have to do that. Everything is provided. Everything is all made available and accessible to all users in University of Malaya. So this is really an important it's really important for instructors to provide all students, 100% of students enrolled in your class have access to the contents, to the right materials right on day one of their classes. So with your access to Wally digital textbooks in Spectrum, you are sure that all students have access to the right materials right on day one because everything is all integrated in Spectrum. So again, this is a very important feature, and you will find the benefits of having access to digital textbooks, which is already integrated in Spectrum. So that is about Wally digital textbook. So I'm not sure if you have any question at this point before I move on to the second Wiley enterprise solution, which is what we call Wileyplus. So, but before I move on to Wileyplus, do you have any specific question for me at this point?
Hi, Roj. You can actually go and look at the chat button, and you can see quite a number of questions are already up.
Okay, all right, sure. Let me go ahead, go into chat. I'm not sure if I'm still sharing my screen. Am I still sharing my screen, right?
Yes,
Or
sharing your screen.
I'm still sharing my screen. Okay, let me try that here. Where should I go and find the questions?
So yes,
Let me hide my sharing first.
Can you see the chat, the meeting chat?
Dr. Zahir, I don't think we can see the chat. From my end, I couldn't see the chat icon as well. I can only see show participants, raise the hands, and the 3 action dots. Yeah, I don't think we can access to the chat. Probably someone from UM might want to, read out the questions to us.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing for me. I don't see the chat box as well.
Can we just read the question for you?
Sure, Ms. Ferlinda. Yes, please go ahead.
All right, Dr. Ang said she cannot install the Vitalsource bookshelf from Microsoft Store. It says the app has been blocked due to company policy. So, is there any limitation to download the Vitalsource bookshelf?
It depends on the device that the user is using. If it's using Microsoft Office, or if it's using Mac, then the user will have the option to select which Vitalsource bookshelf app to be installed.
Excuse me, I'm the one who posed the question. I've done everything correctly, and it says no.
Dr. Ng, can you repeat your?
Yeah, the window version and everything. I choose the right path, but it is in the end. When I click get, this is what I see. The app has been blocked due to company policy.
I see. Right.
Is there a firewall in UM that doesn't allow you guys to download, external app? Maybe that's something that, the IT department needs to probably review that firewall. Yeah.
I doubt it. I'm at home. I'm not on campus.
But you are logged into your Spectrum account. Oh, so this one I'm not.
No, this is my own Wi-Fi thing. No.
Okay.
Right.
I actually can't download the app. So it's probably it's either the Wi-Fi at your house or some settings in your computer. I don't know, but maybe.
Others don't have this problem, is it?
Dr. Zahid, did you manage to download it?
Yes, I actually was able to download the app, and I'm also at home.
Maybe you should try to look into your device or the firewall.
Yeah, maybe there's also probably some compatibility issues. There's this compatibility guide that is in Vitalsource. Probably, Ms. Ng can actually go in and review.
Never mind. It's okay. I'll work on it. It's Windows 10 and everything. It's quite straightforward. But anyway, maybe it has something to do with my computer. Thanks.
Rojhelyn, is there how long the ebooks that will be downloaded will be available for access in the bookshelf? usually?
Right, that's a good question, Ms. Perlinda. At this point, we have set the offline access to 1 year. At this point, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and then there's a question from Vino said, any specific reason the current book you were trying to download to the bookshelf is not showing?
Yeah, that's a good question. Perhaps I have the other downloads as well going as well. So probably that's the reason why when we do our downloads of textbooks, we do it one at a time, because these are large files. So sometimes, you know, the system also is trying to figure out which one to do or not. So yeah, you can try it later. I mean, we would suggest that you try to install the app and start downloading the textbooks and feel it yourself, how the downloading works and so on. Earlier I was trying to do it. Perhaps I need to reboot my Vitalsource bookshelf because I have so many books in there at the moment.
All right. So one last question, Dr. Shazril asked, how to save your books in the library?
How to save the books in the library? I'd like to clarify that question. Which library are you referring to? Is that the...
Can Dr. Shazril share if he's here?
Or maybe, I'm not sure if my understanding is correct. You mean to say library when you are already in Vitalsource Explorer? Let's say you try to search for a textbook, you can do that right there. And for you to know what are the textbooks that you have already activated and have activities, that is right beside the Explore section is the library. That's where all your activated textbooks are found. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
So what I'm finding is once I've started opening the book, it will sort of transfer into the library into the library tab. So it's to me, I think it's automatic.
Yes.
Is it correct?
Yes, that's correct, Dr. Zahir. So once you open up the book, that means you have activated the book. So all your activated textbooks will be available. You will find them in your library right beside Explore tab. There's the library tab.
All right, I think there's no more question. You can proceed, please.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Ms. Perlinda. All right. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen again. So we can continue with our presentation and demo. I'm sharing my screen now. Please confirm if you're viewing it.
Yes, we can see it.
All right, great. So let me go back to my presentation slide so we will be guided accordingly, because you will be happy to know that there's plenty of resources made available to University of Malaya. So earlier, I've just shown you where the collection of Wiley digital textbooks are available. They are all available under Wiley Digital Textbooks course in Spectrum. That's where you access all the 17,000 digital. The other collection that we would like to share is about Wileyplus contents and resources, and you will be able to find them in Spectrum together with Wiley digital textbooks, and all you need to do is just find Wileyplus digital resources. And as I mentioned, these are online reading materials including multimedia resources like videos and simulations. So let me now go ahead and go back to Spectrum to show you where Wileyplus digital resources are available. So I'm back to my Spectrum. Okay, so let me just go back to my home. All right, and in my home, again, when you go back to home, if you're an instructor enrolled in so many courses this semester, you will find all of your courses right here, and you may not be able to locate Wiley courses right on that same page. And so it's a best practice to just go to courses, and then once you are in courses, just type in Wiley and then search, and search results here will show Wiley digital textbooks, Wiley sample integrated courses, Wiley efficient learning, and Wileyplus digital resources. Now the second collection that I'll be presenting would be Wileyplus digital resources. So once you're in Spectrum, go find Wileyplus digital resources and click that link. So as I click the link, right, it will now bring me to this course page under Wileyplus digital resources. And as you scroll all the way down, you will find here direct links to the contents. And these are specific books with Wileyplus digital resources, including videos, animations, and a lot more of interactive multimedia resources. You can scroll all the way down. They're organized by subject. Okay, if you scroll all the way down, you will find a lot of materials. Actually, for Wileyplus, we have 170 plus Wileyplus resources with multimedia resource available in here. For digital textbooks, there are 17,000 digital textbooks available. For Wileyplus, we have over 170 Wileyplus contents. And these 170 plus Wileyplus contents are links created right here in the course page, right? So let's say I'm teaching mechanics, let's say, or maybe mechanical engineering. So what I can do, I'll just go ahead and go into mechanical engineering, and then I can just go ahead and select, browse through the different multimedia resources available in mechanical engineering. So let's say I'm looking at engineering mechanics. Let's say 9th edition of Dynamics book by Miriam. So I find this link right here in mechanical engineering section. And once I click that link, it will now bring me to Wileyplus homepage, right? So as you can see, this activity has been opened in a new window. Let me click this open in new window, right? So as you can see, it's opening up a new tab, and it's now directing me to Wileyplus. So right here, I am now in Wileyplus of this particular content, Engineering Mechanics Dynamics 9th edition. And as you can see, you will find here icons. These are links to the relevant multimedia resources. You will find there animated figures, videos, and a lot more, right? You can jump into all these multimedia resources available in this book, or you can also narrow your search by chapter. Say, for example, all the contents right here, I can jump into a specific section or specific chapter. Let's say I want to go ahead and find multimedia resources available in chapter 4. So I'll just select chapter 4. And when I click chapter 4, it will display, these are the reading contents. Again, if I click the reading contents, it will bring me to the online reading material, the text, the reading content of that particular chapter. For example, I go chapter 4-1 for introduction. I'll just click chapter 4-1, and now it brings me to the reading content, all right, of chapter 4-1. And what you will see here with Wileyplus, unlike digital textbooks it's static. You only get to read the content, although you can make your highlights, you can add notes with the e-textbook, with a digital textbook, as I shared earlier. But with Wileyplus, you also have access to the reading content. This is, however, only accessible online. With e-textbook earlier, you can download it and then you can access it offline. However, for Wileyplus, this is only available online. But the good thing about having Wileyplus content is that you have access to the interactive materials embedded right within the content. Unlike e-textbook, it's just plain text, reading, and so on. But with Wileyplus, you will find here interactive materials, like, for example, in chapter 4.1, this is the text of the book, section 4.1, and you will find here some practice questions available, and so on. So these are available for students. They can check their understanding further. They can, practicing on their own, just to, improve and develop that certain proficiency. So they get to know the content, they get to understand and develop certain skills. They can go through the materials interactively right within the content. And aside from the chapter questions for practice, there will also be videos available. So as you can see here, what you will see here is the reading content, but you will find also links to video tutorials. Again, I'm navigating through the left side panel. So click the video tutorials. And in this chapter alone, there are plenty of video links available right here. And again, these videos are not available in the e-textbook. Again, these videos are available in Wileyplus. You will find the videos right here. You can play the video. For example, let me click on the first video tutorial on separation of variables. Just play the video and it will allow me. Okay, it's too loud. Okay, so that's an example. Okay. All right, so let me pause this for now, right? So as you can see, you can play the videos. So these are tutorial videos. There are also solution videos, animated figures, and all other applied videos available. And these are really helpful materials for students, especially those students who prefer to study and learn better with interactive activities like these lecture videos and etc., rather than just plainly reading through the text. So these are additional resources for students as they go through their lessons, and these are also available definitely with Wileyplus, available in Spectrum. So what you're seeing here is just one book. It's just about the videos and all the relevant interactive study tools under Engineering Mechanics Dynamics 9th edition. It's just one book, and what you will notice, let me close this tab first. What you will notice if you go back to Wileyplus, these are all the links, all right? Right through each link, you will find all these relevant materials under Wileyplus, including the reading content, available videos, and interactive study materials, simulations, etc. These are the direct links to where all these materials are actually integrated. So again, we would like to encourage instructors and students, right? They have access to the library of e-textbooks or digital textbooks, the 17,000. They have access to the library, and we're happy to share that even with a library of interactive resources and contents like Wileyplus, they are also integrated in Spectrum as well. So this is a library of Wileyplus materials with videos and animations, etc. And these are also freely available for students and instructors because this is already integrated in Spectrum. So I don't think I have time to go through all because these are 173 Wileyplus contents or resources. Again, you have access to the material. Please feel free to browse through. Let's say at the moment, if you're joining the call and you're teaching chemistry this semester, you probably would like to go into Wileyplus digital resources and browse through Wileyplus contents or resources available for chemistry. In this case, just scroll down, go chemistry, and then you will be able to find relevant Wileyplus contents and materials under the chemistry section. So please feel free to browse through, open up the materials, and if you find them helpful, you will be able to integrate these contents right into your course. Just remember that what I'm sharing now is just a library, it's just a collection. We haven't gone through into your individual courses and how to integrate specific contents from the collection. We will do that later as well. All right. So this is about Wileyplus digital resources. We encourage everyone to browse through the contents available and identify what relevant contents available in Wileyplus, and then you decide, because we will be training you later on to integrate that content into your course, so that when students log into your course in Spectrum, they know that this is the material right for me, this is the Wileyplus material right for my course, this is the e-text material right for my course, and so on. So I'll go through that, how to integrate contents into your respective courses in a while. So at this point, please feel free to browse through the materials available. These are also available for students as well. All right. So I'll move on to the third collection before we continue with our individual courses and how to integrate specific contents into your individual courses. But before we do that, let me go ahead and proceed to show you how to access the third collection that we are offering to University of Malaya, which is the collection of test prep materials and exam reviews. We are calling it Wally Efficient Learning. All right. These are exam reviewers in preparation for your certification exam. So this is really something important and beneficial to maybe graduating students, or even to instructors if you're taking up certifications in CPA, CFA, CMA, and PMP. If you're preparing for your exam, these are the materials available for you. So where do you find these test prep materials in Spectrum? So now let me go back to Spectrum. All right, I go back to home. And again, right when you're in the home page, you see all your courses, you're enrolled. But to find Wiley resources, again, go to courses and then search for Wiley, right? And then click the magnifying glass to search for the Wiley contents, and then look for Wiley Efficient Learning Test Prep materials, all right? So when I click the link, Wiley Efficient Learning Test Prep materials, so I'll click the link now. It now brings me to this course, to which we have integrated all the exam reviewers. So at the moment, we have integrated Wiley CPA exam review, the latest edition, which is 2020. Constantly update the contents. So we have integrated the link to the exam review for CPA, the same thing for CFA exam review, also with CMA, and also with a project management professional exam review. So again, these are links integrated, easy to access right in Spectrum under Wiley Efficient Learning course. And then you can go ahead and click any of the links to utilize your access and maybe access the materials. Let me go ahead and try opening up CPA. So CPA exam review, if I click the link right here, it will now bring me to open this link in a new window. As you can see, it's opening it up in a new tab. And I'm now directed to my Wiley CPA Excel exam review. So I'll just click accept to the terms of service. And as you can see right here, this is your CPA exam reviewer in preparation for your certification. And this is a self-study tool. You don't need to have an instructor assigning the activities and everything. This is a self-study tool where you can plan your schedule for your study, and then you can view all the contents and syllabus as you prepare for the exam, and a lot more. So again, self-study reviewer for everyone to use. And again, these are really designed for CPA, CMA, CFA, and PMP certification exams. So if you really need help with how to do this and that, we can do a separate training session for Wiley Efficient Learning Test Prep. We can do a separate session on how to do this and that, but this is really very simple to use because this is a self-study tool. No need for instructors to set up activities because everything is all provided. You can set it up your own. You can personalize your exam plan yourself, and so on. And good news again, these materials right here, if I close it, they are available in your Wiley Efficient Learning course in Spectrum, and you will find them different links, CPA, CFA, and a lot more right under Wiley Efficient Learning. So again, if you're teaching, maybe if you're taking up certification in business, finance, and accounting, these are additional tools for you. These are exam reviewers in preparation for your certification exams later on. Available for instructors and students. They can make use of these learning materials available for them. All right. So that is about Wiley Efficient Learning. So I've just shared the collection. Let me go back to my slides right here. So I've just shared what are the Wiley Enterprise Solutions. These are collection of contents made available to you. They're all fully integrated in Spectrum. They're available to all users and instructors and students of UM. Right now, it's available to you. So please feel free to browse through the collection of materials and contents in Spectrum. Now, before I move on to show you how to deploy specific contents, let's say I'm an instructor now. I'm teaching mechanics course. Now I want to specify specific book or content so that I know that these are the materials available and relevant and important for my students. I want to integrate specific contents. I'm going to show that later on as I walk you through the steps how to deploy contents, integrate contents. But maybe at this point in time, I'm open for questions regarding your access to the collection of Wiley Enterprise Solutions. Or if there are no questions, I can go ahead and proceed to showing how to integrate these materials at the course level.
Ms. Rojhelyn, there's a few questions here in the chat session. Okay, let me ask. The resources in Wileyplus only available for online usage. Is it correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So that also tells us that the videos and the animations and all the interactive tools cannot be downloaded.
All right. So there's another question. Dr. Nurhazlina is currently teaching consumer behavior and digital marketing, but unfortunately there are no list of Wileyplus digital resources. So will there be any additional courses to add in later?
For Wileyplus, we only have 173 Wileyplus contents available. And these are designed for quantitative subjects like STEM, business, finance, accounting, management, and so on. So at the moment, these are the only Wileyplus titles we have available. So if you are not able to find Wileyplus materials for your course, then you can make use of digital textbooks. We have 17,000 digital textbooks, but these are just textbooks. There are no interactive tools like Wileyplus has. So you can link digital textbooks into your course.
Okay. There's no more question in the chat session.
Right. So I think, okay. All right. So I think we're all excited to know how to integrate specific contents from the collection, how to integrate specific contents from the collection, and then add them in to our individual courses. All right. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. Okay, I'm sharing my screen now. Hope you're viewing it. Let me go back to the Spectrum course. All right, so let me go back to home. Okay, so let's say I'm an instructor now. I'm teaching mechanics course in the first semester, right? So if I'm teaching a course, of course, if I'm assigned as an instructor, I should see that course right when I log in Spectrum. So again, you probably are seeing all your courses to which you're assigned as an instructor. But for today's demo, I don't have an actual course, but I have a sample course to walk you through how to build your courses with Wiley contents. And I'm going to use the Wiley sample integrated course, assuming that this is the course I am teaching. And I'm teaching mechanics course, and this is the course that is already created in Spectrum. So now I assume that this is the course that I'm teaching. All I need to do, just go into the course that I'm teaching. What you will find here, I've done some testing and all. You will see here, again, I'm not a professional, I'm not an instructor, I don't hold a degree in teaching, all right? So I don't have, materials really to show the objectives, to show the expected learning outcomes and so on. So I don't have anything to add that here. But of course, with you as the instructor, you can add in as many contents, you can add your announcement, you can add your course syllabus and so on with the Spectrum capability. That part, I'm sure you know already how to, add in your announcement, your course syllabus, your schedules and so on. You can do that on your own since you know the course more than we do. So what I'm trying to show here is the how-to part. How can I create a link to Wileyplus, or how can I create a link to a specific e-textbook into my course so that I'll be able to guide my students in a way that they know that these are the relevant and the right contents and materials for them. So what you will see here are sample links to which I have created, all right? So what I can do now, let me go ahead and share with you how to do it, all right? So first thing, let's say I'm teaching this course, let's say I'm teaching mechanics. Let's say I have identified, this is an example that I already have created a link to Wileyplus. As you can see, if I click the link right here, let's say I click the link, it will now bring me to Wileyplus homepage, to where all my students will have access to all the materials available. I have already done it right here, but how did I do that? The very first thing that you need to do Okay, in the case of, for example, you already have identified a Wileyplus title. Let me close this again. The very first thing that you need to do whenever you add a link, of course, right in your course page, just click the gear icon right on top, and you just turn the editing on. All right, turn editing on. All right, that will allow you to add activities in your course page. Of course, this functionality is not available to students. They don't have the editing option. So instructors will have the option to add an activity. All right, and when you're adding an activity right here, it gives you an option to add an activity. Now there are two things. In fact, I'll be happy to share the instructor manual. Okay, these are instructors manual, how to these are step-by-step guide for instructors how to link specific e-textbook or specific Wileyplus content into your course. And I think I've shared this before, but I'll be happy to resend the user manual. These are step-by-step walkthrough. You can have it as you try to do the linking on your own. We'll be sharing the manual to you as well. But let me go ahead and do the quick demo on that. So now I'll show you how to add a Wileyplus link. I've just shown here a sample Wileyplus link, but how did I do this? So first thing, when you add a Wileyplus link, again, you need to identify which Wileyplus content that you're adding. Okay, that's very important that you need to know which Wileyplus content that you're adding. If you don't know which Wileyplus content, please refer to Wileyplus Digital Resources to select which content you're adding, or we can also send you a file, something like this. So if you don't want to go through the Wiley Digital Resources, you can refer to this Excel spreadsheet, which we will be happy to share to you as well. These are all the different Wileyplus titles available for you to select. There are 176 titles to select, okay? And you can search for a title. Let's say let's say I'm teaching mechanical engineering. So these are the different Wileyplus contents that I'd like to select, and I want to add links to these mechanical engineering Wileyplus content. So let's say I'm going to add in Engineering Mechanics Statics 9th edition. So this is the book that I'd like to add. I know this book and I want my students to have access to the interactive materials using this book, Engineering Mechanics Statics 9th edition. What I need to do, very importantly for instructors, again, number one, I need to know what Wileyplus content I need to add. So definitely I will take note of this book. Let me copy this book and then I'll add it to my notepad just for my reference. Okay, I'll just copy the title of the book. And again, what is important when you add a link to a book, you need to determine the unique identifier of that book. In this case, the unique identifier of this book alone is the VBID, the product ID right beside here, all right? This is really important. So if you know this is the book you want, you need to take note of the product ID of that book. That is specific and unique to the book that you will be creating later on. So take note of the product ID, all right? You may want to save it in your notepad, okay? So this is the book that I'd like to add, and I have the product ID of this particular book. So I'll use this later as I start creating the links. All right. Now going back to my course page, let's say I want to add the other Wileyplus title. I have added dynamics. Now I want to add statics. All I need to do, just click add an activity or resource. All right. I'll click add an activity or resource. And then I will select external tool from the activities. All right. And then from there I select, and then I'll just click add. All right. So I click add. It will now bring me to this page in which I will now add an external tool to Wileyplus. So the activity name here, usually the activity name would be the name of the Wileyplus title that you're adding. So in my case, the Wileyplus title that I'm adding is Miriam, Engineering Mechanics Statics 9th edition. So I'll just copy and paste that right here for my activity name. And in my pre-configured tool, I'll select Wileyplus. All right. Again, I'm walking you through the steps, but don't worry, there is a user guide which will be shared to you. This is the user guide for Wileyplus. Okay, so I'll provide the user guide to you so you will be guided later on when you do it yourself. But let me walk you through the steps for now. So again, the pre-configured tool will be Wileyplus, and then click Show More. And as you click Show More, just leave all the rest of the fields as blank, right? The launch container by default, we already have set it to new window, so you can leave it by default, or you can change it to new window. Although by default it's already new window, then you can use by default as your launch container. And then now, very importantly, all the rest you can keep them as they are since they are all grayed out. But this is a very important part right here when you create a link. You have just entered the name of the activity, but that does not mean that you're already set to go when you already click save, okay? You need to enter that unique identifier of the book and enter that in custom parameters. So when you create a link to Wileyplus, the custom parameters is standard, okay? What is important for now is you add this custom parameters, destination equals WP4-homepage course ID plus the eProf. And again, it's probably for now, if it's your first time, it's a matter of getting used to the process. We provide you the user guide to walk you through the steps, but you can start creating the links. All you need to do under custom parameters is to enter the destination and the course ID, all right, right here, okay? Again, this is standard format, but you need to update the course ID, which is that unique identifier specific to the book you are creating. All right. So like I said earlier, when I showed you all the product IDs, this is the book that you're adding. Let me highlight this for now. This is the unique identifier of the book that you're creating. And we have already saved this and taken note of this. We need this file. We need this information for this particular book. Okay, let me copy that. And then back to my course, I'll just update this eProf with the correct product ID, the unique identifier of the textbook that we are creating. After that, again, just make sure that you have entered the correct product ID of the book you're creating. Once you're set, all you need to do is just click Save and Return to Course. So let me go ahead and click Save and Return to Course. Now you will see a link to Miriam Engineering Mechanics Statics 9th edition is now created. So if I click the link, the same thing for my students, if they click the link, it will bring them to Wileyplus of this particular book. And that book is under the Statics 9th edition. They can browse through the materials. And where do they find these materials? They are available in the Read, Study, and Practice. For students, they will see here all the figures, all the videos, etc. under Read, Study, and Practice. For instructors, you will also have a special access to Wileyplus. As you can see from here, under the Read, Study, and Practice, these are all the videos which are also accessible to students. Students can see all these student resources, videos, all the animations, etc. But for instructors, you have special access to Instructor Resources, like PowerPoints, multimedia, all these instructor tools. You will also have access to Solutions Manual, etc. So it's important that your access is actually defined as an instructor so that you will have access to the Prepare and Present tab. So right here, my access to this course is an instructor. So I'm assigned as an instructor, so I can see the Prepare and Present tab. But my students who have a student user role, they won't see this tab right here, okay? They cannot see this tab, all right, if they are students. But me as an instructor, I can see the Prepare and Present tab. What do I find under the Prepare and Present tab? Under Wileyplus, this is where all the instructors are made available. So as you can see here, Prepare and Present, you will find here all chapters. And then you can also maybe narrow your search to only Instructor Resources, all right? And you can filter the file types, whether you're searching for documents or PowerPoints, etc. You can select the file type right here. and then maybe you show all per page. And from there, now what I'm trying to do here is I'm finding Instructor Resources to all the chapters of this book. And now I'll click Go. And after I click Go, it will now display all the relevant instructor resources. As you can see right here, again, this is under Prepare and Present. This is only available to students. You will notice right here that this column, are they displayed to students? The answer is no. Again, these are only limited to instructors only. We don't want to provide students access to all the instructor resources, okay? We don't want to provide them the solutions manual. They will get to see answers to all the questions, etc. So of course, this is very restricted to instructors only, and you will find all the relevant instructor resources. There are lecture PowerPoints, there are solutions manual, and a lot more. So these are relevant instructor resources available for instructors only. And it's very easy to use. As you can see, let's say I'll pull up one lecture PowerPoint. Let's say I have a lecture PowerPoint for chapter 3. I'll just click that PowerPoint. This PowerPoint is a PPT file in which it's made available for instructors to save a copy and then revise it. So for example, I have downloaded chapter 3 PowerPoint. Now it's trying to open chapter 3 about equilibrium in this particular book. I can save a copy of this PowerPoint slide, all right? Because it's a PPT file, I can save a copy. And then what I can do, I can even edit it. Once I have saved a copy of it, I can add in my slides, insert my slides, or even perhaps remove some of the slides that are not relevant for my course. I can definitely do that. These are instructor resources created by the author and by subject matter experts. And these are readily made available for instructors to use in their teaching and in teaching their courses online. So feel free to download the instructor materials like PowerPoints, etc. And please only utilize them for your teaching. And of course, we don't encourage you to share it or upload it anywhere, because these are materials only designed to support instructors in their teaching. So these are relevant instructor resources. So feel free to browse through whatever instructor PowerPoints available. You can save a copy, you can edit, you can modify, and you can share it online to your classes during class discussion, or you can upload a copy of this PowerPoint Spectrum, and you can share the PowerPoint materials to your students in your class as well. So these are relevant materials available in Wileyplus, and you will find that. Yes, Dr. Zahir?
Yes, okay. Let me share my screen.
Sure.
I'm trying to sort of try out the resources. So can you see my Spectrum page now?
Yeah, I can see it now.
So I added a book into this call that I have. So when I click on the link to the book, it gives me this error message. So it says you cannot access Wileyplus as an instructor because you're enrolled as a student.
Okay.
So how do I
All right.
sort this out?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for sharing this error message, Dr. Zahir. This is something that I had a discussion with Mr. Shukri early this morning, that we wanted instructors to be assigned with a teacher role in Wileyplus, because the first time you access Wileyplus, if you access it as a student for the first time, the system will record your user role as a student. So when you create a link to Wileyplus in your course, it will bring you this message that you are already assigned or enrolled as a student earlier. So I'm in the discussion with Mr. Shukri, and make sure that instructors are assigned with a teacher role in all Wileyplus courses so that you will not encounter this issue. For the meantime, I'll go ahead and check on the back end so I can manually change your role from student to instructor. And the reason why you're seeing this again, that is because you were enrolled as a student when you first accessed Wileyplus earlier. That's why the system captures your user role as student, and now you're unable to assign the materials as instructor. But I'll go ahead and update your role to instructor on the back end. But again, for everyone else, we just want to make sure, and I hope Mr. Shukri is on the line as well. We want to make sure that instructors are given instructor role or teacher role to Wileyplus courses, because that determines the user access. The first time to access Wileyplus actually triggers the user role of everyone.
Okay.
So thanks
I have another question. When you show the product ID, the eProf number, so it's in an Excel form. So can we get the eProf number from our Wileyplus Vitalsource website from the library?
That's a good question, Dr. Zahir. The Wileyplus is different from Wiley eText. What you will find in Vitalsource is only Wiley eText. So you wouldn't be able to find the product ID of Wileyplus in Wiley eText or under Vitalsource. What we can do, Dr. Zahir, to avoid the confusion where to find the product ID and all, because Wileyplus will have its own set of product ID. I'll resend the file, the same Excel file that I shared earlier. So I'll resend that Excel file with the corresponding product IDs of all Wileyplus titles. I'll resend it via email together with the user guides and the training manual. Would that be okay? And
fine.
yeah, and then please feel free to share the file. You can share it to all instructors, or you can upload it in Spectrum, and just let the instructors know where to find the file. You can freely upload it. It's open to everyone. So I'll definitely share the file with you. I think that's the best way to do it with the corresponding product IDs. All right.
Got it.
All right. So I think that's just a question. So I'll move on. Just now I've just shared how to link Wileyplus. Let me go back to my to share my screen now. All right. So that's the Wileyplus. Earlier I've showed you that instructors have a separate access to Instructor Resources, and these are all the PowerPoints made available for them. These are relevant materials made available for instructors to use. Now, that's just one part of adding the link to Wileyplus. The other way, okay, to add links to contents aside from Wileyplus, let's say there was a question earlier, how about if my course does not have Wileyplus content? Because our Wileyplus only is limited to 176 titles. There may be other courses who wouldn't be able to find relevant Wileyplus. So if that is the case, you can add Wiley eText instead of Wileyplus. Again, Wiley eText is just a reference textbook just for reading both online and offline. So you have access to 17,000 e-textbooks. You can add as many links to relevant e-textbooks into your course. So in this example, right within my course, I have added 2 e-textbooks right here. Okay, so this is the textbook in which if my students go into my course and I have added a section, these are readings and other references, and I have created links to the e-textbooks, my students can just simply click the link. Let's say in this example, I click the link, which is the Dynamics 9th edition. If I click the link, even my students, if they click the link, it will bring them straight away to Vitalsource. And that brings them straight away to that specific book. So right after I click the link, now my students can already view the textbook itself. They don't have to go to the library. They don't have to go to Wiley Digital Textbooks to search for that book, because you as instructor can create a link to that specific book right within your course. So when students click that link, it will bring them straight away to that book that you are adding. So in this case, now it brings me to that specific book. As a student or as an instructor, I can jump into the different sections of the book by chapter, by part of the book. Let's say I go to part 2. I can go to chapter 5, and I can go to a specific page of chapter 5, specific problem, and so on. I can do that right here. So Again, what you are trying to do here when you create links to a specific textbook, you're actually guiding and facilitating your students' learning by creating links to specific books and contents that are important, that are relevant to them. So you can create examples like this. It brings them to all the different contents and materials. So how did I do this, right? How did I create links to these e-textbooks? These are not Wileyplus. As I mentioned, we have here Wileyplus, but now I'm trying to show you how to link e-textbooks through Vitalsource. So these are examples of the 2 e-textbooks I've added. Now, how did I do this? So let's say, for example, I want to add in another book. Let's say I have identified another book to which I find important and relevant for my students in my course. Again, first thing you need to do is you need to identify the book, all right? And aside from the title of the book, you also need to identify that unique identifier. Similar to Wileyplus, the unique identifier is the product ID, right? But for e-textbook, the unique identifier is the ISBN. So where is the ISBN of the book? So if you go back to Explore, right? Let's say you go back to Explore. This is the Wiley digital textbooks earlier, to which you can go into the library. You can type in that specific book. Let's say the book is, let's say, I'll try to find other textbook under mechanics. I'll do a search. Let's say I know that, let's say these are the 3 books that I have already created. Let's say the other book that I like to add, let's say, for example, this is dynamics. Okay, let's say Fluid Mechanics 9th edition, just for today's demo. What I need to do is the unique identifier of the book. I can just simply click the book details right here. When I click the book details, the VBID is the unique identifier. All right. Now, there's another way of doing it. Instead of instructors going into the e-library, search for that book, open the book, and locate the unique identifier, another way of doing it is the same thing as how we are doing it for Wileyplus. Wileyplus, we provide this Excel spreadsheet, right? In which you see all the titles and the corresponding unique identifier, which is the product ID. The same thing for e-text. We will also provide you a list of all the 17,000 titles. All right, so we can provide you this whole list. As you can see, this is all 17,000 titles. These are all in the Vitalsource bookshelf under Vitalsource Explorer to select. And instead of going through here, like what I'm trying to show, instead of going through and finding that book and then locate the VBID, you can just refer to the Excel file. In this case, as an example, you're teaching, let's say, let me do and find that book. Let's say I'm trying to search for mechanics. As long as you have identified that book, you will be able to get the unique identifier, which is the Vitalsource eText ISBN of that book. So let's say earlier, this is the book that I'm trying to add. Okay, this is the VBID. And I should be able to find this VBID from the file. Okay, let me do a search. Right, so this is the book, Fluid Mechanics 9th edition, and this is the eText ISBN. So the reason why I'm showing this to you is because a requirement to create a link to an e-textbook into your course is the Vitalsource eText ISBN. That's the unique identifier required whenever you create a link. You may know the title, right? But you need to know that unique identifier, which is the ISBN of the book. So what you will do now, when you go into your course, let's say I'll go back to my course, okay, I'll go back to Spectrum, okay. Let me try and add that particular book under my Wally eText readings and other references. Again, the same thing, when we're adding a link, we'll just create, I will just click add an activity or resource. So I'm going to click add an activity or resource. And from here, under activities, I will select external tool. The same thing with Wileyplus. We select external tool under the activity and then click add. So now we're trying to add eText. We're not adding Wileyplus anymore. We're adding eText. So the name here, activity name, typically is the name or the title of that book, because that will show the name as it appears as a link in your course. So the activity name, say I have already identified the book. Let me go ahead and pull this book again. Let me copy this book and I'll paste it in my notepad. All right, so let me try that right here. I'll just copy the note, the book title, and then definitely I'll take note of this ISBN, which is the unique identifier. And I'll just paste it here in my notepad because this is the information I need when I set up the link. All right. Okay. So now back to my course page. My activity name right here, as I add in a link to the e-text, would be the name of that book. And that name of the book that I'm adding in is Fluid Mechanics 9th edition, right? And if I scroll down, I don't select Wileyplus. Again, we are adding Wally e-text, not Wileyplus, so I should select automatic based on tool URL. All right. So I'll leave the pre-configured tool as automatic based on tool URL, and that will allow me to enter the tool URL of that specific book that I'm creating a link to. All right. And the tool URL is standard. All right. That standard tool URL is this particular URL. This is again standard, and again, it's a matter of getting used to the tool URL. The user guide and the manual will be provided to you at the end of the session, so you will be guided as well. You will need the tool URL, but you definitely need to have the ISBN towards the string of URL. So you will have to add in the tool URL. Just copy the tool URL and then paste it under the tool URL right in your external tool. All right. And once you have added it here, the next thing is to add the ISBN after the / of books. So the ISBN, which we have already pulled up earlier for this particular book, is this. So I am going to add that ISBN in my tool URL string. Okay, so as you can see here now, the tool URL is, again, this part here is standard. You need to add in the tool URL and then add in the ISBN of this particular book that we are creating. It's just as simple as that. Okay, after you add in the tool URL, all you need to do is just scroll down, click save, and return to course. And again, the steps here, how to do this and that, will be detailed in the user guide. Again, I'll share the user guide at the end of the session. So from here, just add in a tool URL and then click save and return to course. Once you click save and return to course, a link to that specific book is now created. And as you can see here, right in this section to which you create the activity, that link to Fluid Mechanics 9th edition is now added. So if I click the link right here, even if my students enrolled in my class, when they click the link to this book, as you can see, if I open it, it's now directing me, and even my students, as they click the link, it will direct them straight away to that specific book, which is the Fluid Mechanics. So now it's directing me to a Fluid Mechanics book, right? So this is the book. And again, I'll just go into the table of contents to jump into specific chapter or specific section of the chapter to start reading the contents. So just as easy as adding a link to a specific textbook is possible when you are in your course. And again, you're not limited to just 3 or 5. You can add in as many e-textbooks as you want. As long as they are relevant to your course, you can add in as many e-textbooks links as you want within your course. And of course, these are available. You have 17,000 digital textbooks to select from. You can create links as many as you want, and you can get it. You can also have it available for your students as well. So these are specific links to the textbook. The way you create links to e-text and the way you create links to Wileyplus is kind of different. But of course, we have user guides for you to walk through the steps. But again, it's a matter of getting used to it, and that should be, you will get used to how to create links. And there's a trick here. Say, for example, you have successfully created links. Let's say e-text, I have successfully created a link to an e-text. If I want to add in more titles, I think maybe for some of you, you know already the trick that you can actually duplicate this link, right? You can duplicate this link and then when you have a duplicated or a copy of that link, say for example, you have a duplicate of this link. When you have this copy, all you can do is just edit it. Edit settings, and then change the activity name to another book that you're adding, and then also just change the ISBN to that specific book that you're adding. It's easy. This is like a shortcut way of doing it instead of going through adding activity as everything. So let's say example, let me try adding another book, say let me try other mechanics books, say let's say Introduction to Soil Mechanics. Let's say I want to add in this book as an example, so I'll edit my my activity. So instead of this, I'll just copy the Introduction to Soil Mechanics as the title, and then this specific book, the ISBN is this. I'll just copy the ISBN of the specific book, and then I'll just change this ISBN right here, specific to Introduction to Soil Mechanics, and then save and return to course, and that now creates a link to that book to which we are creating, right? So, okay, so here's the link to Soil Mechanics, and for me to test if it works or not, click the link. It should now bring me to Soil Mechanics e-textbook, which is created directly within my course page. So as you can see here, the e-textbook Soil Mechanics is now loading. Right. So that's the trick. As long as you have created successfully one link, you can just duplicate it and then just update the ISBN and the title or the activity name, and then you can create as many links to e-textbooks as you want. Same thing for Wileyplus. If you have more than one Wileyplus available for your course, what you can do, instead of going through add an activity and then going through all the custom ID, the custom parameters, if you have successfully created a link in one Wileyplus link, you can just duplicate it. For example, let's say I can create another Wileyplus link. I can just duplicate the link, and then I'll just edit the copy of that link. So what I can do here, I'll just click Edit Settings, and in my Edit Settings, of course, if I have another Wileyplus content, let's say I refer to Wileyplus, let's say under my mechanical engineering, I have other Wileyplus title. Let's say I want to add in Fluid Mechanics by Elgar. So and this is the product ID. Say this will be another Wileyplus I'd like to add. So I'll just simply edit the copy of the earlier link, and then I'll update it. So again, this is the copy of the earlier link, and then I'll just update it with the right title. And for Wileyplus, always select Wileyplus as a pre-configured tool, and then click Show More, and then the custom parameters will have to be again back to the home page, which is this. And then the course ID should be specific to that title that you're adding. This time we're adding Elgar, Engineering Fluid Mechanics, so this is the product ID. And I'll just update that right here. And then click Save and Return to Course. That will now create a link to this specific Wileyplus content under the Wileyplus section of my course page. All right, so now you can see here a link to Elgar, Engineering Fluid Mechanics is now available. So if I click the link, it now brings me and my students to Wileyplus of this specific content. So now it's opening up Wileyplus. All right, so again, these are the read, study, and practice for the videos and all the other relevant interaction. There are videos right here available. And for instructors, you have access to prepare and present for your Instructor Resources. All right, you just select Instructor Resources, click Go, and you will be able to find all the relevant Instructor Resources available in this particular course. So again, these are some of the Instructor Resources available using Fluid Mechanics 10th edition by Elgar. All right, so these are just links on how to create these are ways on how to create direct links to specific Wileyplus content and specific Wiley eText content. Now the next part of today's session will be, at this point, we know already how to create links to Wileyplus. We also know how to create links to e-text in our course. And again, as I mentioned, the user guide is available, showing you the steps on how to create links. You will be able to do that on your own. Now, the next part of this session, after we have created links to Wileyplus and eText, now I am going to show how to make use of the assignments of the pre-created test banks and questions in Wileyplus, and you can assign it as an activity, maybe as a quiz, as an exercise, as a pre-lecture exercise for your students. So how are you going to do that? So as you can see from here, I have here created a sample link to an exercise in which I already did prior to this session. So there's a link here to week 1 exercise. So if I'm a student and I see that there's a link to my week 1 exercise, if I click the link as a student, it will prompt me to complete this activity. So now it shows me that there is an activity using Wileyplus, using this book, Mechanics Dynamics 9th edition. And if I continue next, it will prompt the student to answer this particular problem. What I'm seeing here, I am logged in as an instructor, so I see the answers to the question, to the problem. So if I go ahead and access this link as a student, it will prompt me to complete and answer the blanks, answer the fields. So this is just an example of a sample exercise that I have created as an activity in Wileyplus within my course. So I have assigned problem 1, and these are the correct answers. And I also have assigned the second problem, again, for my students to complete, and this is the correct answer. So how do I create a set of exercise for my students using Wileyplus? So let me close this part, how I created this link. Okay, now before I create a link to my exercise, as an instructor, I need to create an exercise first in Wileyplus. Right when I have created that exercise in Wileyplus, I can now create a link to that exercise. All right, so how and where do I create that exercise in Wileyplus? And again, Wileyplus is a complete teaching and learning online tool. It not just only include videos and all the interactive study tools. It also has test banks, questions, assignments with auto grading capability. All right, so let me show you how it works. So let's say, for example, I'd like to create an assignment, but I need to know first what are the questions available in this particular Wileyplus content. So let's say I'm going to use Dynamics 9th edition. So now I click Dynamics 9th edition. As an instructor, I click the link. Now I need to know what questions are available, and then I can set up an assignment or an activity or an exercise. And then once I have set it up, I can already create a link to that assignment in my weekly activities. First thing I need to do as an instructor, I will set up that assignment first. So there is this assignment tab right beside the read, study, and practice. When I click this assignment tab, as an instructor, this allows me to create a new assignment or an activity. This link here, assignment, is not available to students. It's not available for students to create a new assignment because, again, they are students. They're not supposed to create new assignments and all. They will see the assignment tab for students. They will see the assignment tab, but their view is different. They only get to see what are the assignments due for them. So if you have set up an assignment, let's say, if you already set up chapter 1, they will see here when students click the assignment, they will see that there's a chapter 1 assignment that is due for them to complete. That's what they will see. But what you see here, as I demo it, I'm logged in as an instructor. So when I go to assignment, this is where I can set up and create a new assignment for my students. Now, before I create a new assignment, you will be happy to know that there are pre-created assignments available. We have assignment banks. We have questions, as you can see here under the assignment bank. Again, the first tab in your assignments is your My Assignments. You will see here the assignment which you have created. If you haven't created anything, you will see you will have other pre-created assignments that can be assigned right away. You will find them under assignment bank. And in the assignment bank, of course, there's plenty of assignments. These are pre-created assignments. These are all designed and pre-created with selected questions, of course, by the authors, by subject matter experts, which you can readily assign to your class. You can narrow down your search by assignment type, because there's plenty of that. Maybe you wanna search for questions under practice, okay, and then apply filter. And then probably only practice questions for chapter, let's say for now, let's say chapter 6 practice. So when you go into chapter 6 practice, there are already 9 questions. Again, this is a pre-created set of activity. You can readily assign it to your students, or you can create your new set, is also okay. But you can utilize the pre-created. Maybe you want to have a quick view of what are the questions already pre-created in this activity. You can just click the link and it will display all the different problems pre-created. All right. And you'll see here problem, this one, and then this is the correct answer. If you find that this problem set is relevant for your course, then you can use it. And then you can just quickly go into the next problem and so on and so forth. And again, these are pre-created questions. If you're happy with all the pre-created questions available in this practice set, all right, you can just simply assign original, or you can even modify and use a copy of that practice set. All right. So when you modify and use a copy, say for example, click on modify and use a copy of the practice set. You can, of course, you can rename the assignment. Maybe I want to make it to my week 1 post-lecture exercise. All right, let me type in the name of the activity, week 1 post-lecture exercise, right? And then I can have a short name here, the CH06 practice. The short name is important because this will be the name of this activity that will appear in your gradebook. Okay, so make sure that your short name is relevant to the assignment name, easy for you to distinguish. And again, these are the pre-assigned questions. And if you feel like these questions, some of these questions are not relevant, you can simply just remove it. So let's say one particular question, let's say problem 6. If you want to view this question again, you can preview the question. All right, let me click preview the question. Let's say you find this question set, this problem not relevant. Maybe I don't want to assign this. I can just simply remove this from my assignment. Okay, I'll remove it from my assignment. Then I can just go ahead and proceed to the next question and so on. So you can simply modify a pre-created question set. You can remove, you can add questions. In fact, how you can add questions from here, you can actually add in as many questions. For example, you can set the policies and so on. All right. And then if that works for you, and then you can now proceed to the next step. Okay, set policies. Now the next step would be for you to set the scoring and feedback. Again, a couple of things here as an instructor. When you create your own activity, you will have the option to show the students their scores after each attempt. Or probably you do not want your students to know the scores or feedback whether they answer it correctly or not until due date has passed. So you'll have these two options for you in terms of showing scores and feedback. And you also have the option to allow certain number of attempts for students. Say if the score submits an answer, first attempt is wrong, then they'll have a second attempt to set another answer. Again, these are question attempts allowed. You can set it to 3 attempts, or maybe you just want to set it only 1 attempt. When they submit an answer to a question, if the answer is wrong, then they cannot resubmit another answer because you only allow 1 attempt per question. So these are some of the things you have full control of as instructor when you create your activity. And aside from the policy configuration, you will also be providing question assistance. For example, a particular question, if a student is struggling to answer that particular problem, you probably would like to add hints, okay? Maybe you add hints after first attempt, or maybe you don't want to provide hints, then you set it to never. Or maybe, again, if the student doesn't know the answer before he submits his answer, he probably is not sure about his answer, then instructor can add links to text. So that means when student works on the assignment, there's a link to text that allows him to go into that specific text of the textbook to review before he will be able to submit his final answer. So these are some of the question assistance available. And of course, instructors are free to, set the question assistance whether they allow it or they don't allow the questions assistance per question. And you can also reduce some points if they click, if they click the hints, if they submit the answer and the answer is correct, but they click the hint, probably you don't want to credit them full point for that. Maybe you want to reduce the score by 50% and so on. You can also do that. So again, these are a lot of configuration depending on how instructors set up the activity and how he wants to set the policies as well, right? There are also algorithmic questions available, all right, for specific questions, like, for example, again, this is also an important tool for instructor. When you set problem-solving questions, knowing that everyone is now online and they're all learning from home, there are cases in which students copy answers from from a friend or from a classmate. But what you can do, instructors can actually set questions with different values, the same problem set, but different given values, all right? So if I'm student A, I may have the same problem with my classmate student B, but the given values in my problem is different. So my final answer will be different from the final answer of my student. So this is one way for you to set the algorithmic questions that values for each attempt stay the same, but each student gets different values. So this is also one good thing about Wileyplus questions. You get to assign the same problem but different values, so students, they refrain from copying each other's final answer. They will work on the same problem but different values. They will be able to do that on their own as well. All right, so these are some of the things to say. If you're happy with the settings, now you can go ahead and finalize your assignment. And once we are in the last step, before we finalize the assignment right here, I am now going to assign this assignment to my Wiley sample integrated course. What's good about Wileyplus, if you are teaching 5 classes in this semester, and if you're using this book, Engineering Mechanics Dynamics 9th edition, in all your 5 classes, you can set one assignment and assign it to all 5 classes. So in this example, I don't see 5 classes because I only have 1 class assigned to me, which is the Wiley sample integrated course. And then I can only assign it to this class. But if I'm again teaching 5 classes, I have the option to assign this assignment to all my 5 classes. And I can set start date and due date specific to each class. So let's say I'm going to assign it just to 1 class. And I'm going to make it available now. Now it's November 20, 12 p.m. Okay, that's correct. And then this assignment will only be available for my students to complete after 1 week, which will be on the 27th November. So I can set the date and the time. Maybe I can set it November 27, 2 p.m. That will be the due date of my assignment. And once I have already created an assignment link, I can just go ahead and review the scoring. Of course, the scoring, I will make it graded. And this is another option for you to allow late submission of students. Say, after November 27, the students did not submit. Would you still allow late submission after November 27? And if yes, you can reduce the score by 50% or not, you can do that. Or if you don't allow late submission, you can select options like, students can only view the assignment after 27th November. Then you select this, right? Or other options. Again, it really depends on the instructor how you want to set the rules and the policy of your activity. You can do that right here on the assignments creation page. So let's say I'm going to set it this way. And now I am going to click assign. So once I've clicked assign, this assignment is now already created. So if I go to my assignments, all right, go to my assignments right here, you will see that my week 1 post-lecture exercise is now active. Since I made it available start date November 20, which is 12 p.m. today, and active only until 27th November. So this assignment is already created in Wileyplus, right? So if I go back to my Spectrum course, all right, you wouldn't be able to find a link to that assignment in your week 1 section yet, okay? You only created the assignment when you go into Wileyplus link here. When you click the link, it will bring you to this whole page, okay? And it will bring you to the assignment to show that you have already set up the assignment. For students, they will see the assignment when they click this link, okay? When the students click this link, it will bring them to Wileyplus and it will show them that there is an assignment for them which is active until November 27. That's the way students know that there is an assignment for them. However, if you want to organize your activities by week in Spectrum, like in this case, if you want to organize your activities by week or by topic, you can create a link to that specific assignment in your week 1 to 2 section, for example. So in this case, there is this assignment already created, but I want to create a link to week 1 post-lecture exercise into my section here. All right, how do I do that? That's the next question. How do I link this specific assignment into my weekly activities? So first thing, the same thing as what we're doing for the rest of the links, we need to identify the title of the activity, all right, which in this case, the title is week 1 post-lecture exercise. So you may want to take note because you will need the title of the activity as you create a link. So let me again post that here in my notepad. This will be the title of the activity that I will need to create in my week 1 section. And the other thing is a unique identifier. Again, every link we create needs to have a unique identifier to that specific content. So where is the unique identifier of my week 1 post-lecture exercise? Okay, for you to do that, just click the link of this assignment. It pulls up the assignment in a new window, all right? And as you can see across the URL link, you will find this section, okay? This is the unique identifier of this specific assignment. And what you will need is this ASNMT followed by a series of numbers or digits. You need to take note of that unique identifier because this will be required when you create a link to this specific assignment. So let me copy this unique identifier of the assignment and put that here in my notepad as my reference later when I create it. And from there, I have it already. I can now close this and I can go close my Wileyplus now. So now let me try and add in that assignment link in my week 1. So now, how to add a link to that specific assignment? Let me now click add an activity or resource, all right? And then select external tool from your activities. And now I'll click add. And here in my external tool to week 1, the activity name, the usual activity name would be the name or the title of the activity that we're adding. So in this case, we are adding the week 1 post-lecture exercise, all right? And since we are adding Wileyplus assignment, we will select Wileyplus as the pre-configured tool, all right? In Wileyplus, click show more, okay? The same thing with Wileyplus, we will now go into the custom parameters, all right? In the custom parameters, when we click, when we create a link to Wileyplus, it should it should require us to enter this page, right? When we create a link to Wileyplus, in which you need to have the eProf of this book, which you should already have. In this case, the eProf of this book is, this is the mechanics. Let me find that again. Dynamics ebook, or this is the eProf of the Dynamics 9th edition. I need to have that here in my custom parameters, all right, of this particular book. And then the other thing that I need to add for this specific assignment is to add the resource ID, and then equals the specific or the unique identifier of that specific assignment. So I'll add in resource ID equals the assignment ID of that specific assignment of week 1 post-lecture exercise. And then I'll paste that here. All right. And before I click save, I will have to change, because we're not creating a link to the home page. We're creating a link to the assignment. So I will have to change the destination to assignment, followed by the course ID, the book to which that assignment is linked to, and that specific assignment ID that you are creating a link to as well. So you need to have the custom parameters added with this format. And again, now you probably would find it too tedious, but once you have created a link, and then it's a matter of getting used to it. And we also provide you this is the user guide to walk you through the steps. You will find here the adding a specific chapter assignment link. You can refer to the user guide for the custom parameters. You can do that on your own later. And once you have it ready, then you can now click save and return to course. So once I click save and return to course, a link to that specific assignment is now created. And when I click the link, same thing for my students. When they click the link, okay, go to week 1, it will now direct me to that specific assignment to which I created in Wileyplus. And that link is available in my week 1 activity. And this will allow my students to start working on the problem sets that I have set up for them. So you can see here, this is my instructor view. You probably would want to know what does it look like for students, right? Because right now you're seeing it as instructor. You know the answer, you know the questions and everything, but you probably would want to see how does it look like for students. Instructors have this link right here. You will see a link. Go to student view, right? If you click go to student view, this allows you to simulate the experience of students when they work on the assignment. So let's say now we are in the student view. I can go back to my instructor view later on, but now let me try and see first how it looks like for students. So this is what it looks like for students. They will see here the instructions, when this assignment will be due, and so on. And students can click next to start answering the problem. Okay, so this is how it looks like for students. So this is the problem that they need to enter the answer right here. I don't know the answer. Maybe I'll just type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'll submit my answer. And then since we have set the policy that the students will know the answer correct or not, then it shows here that the answer is incorrect. If I proceed to the next question, as a student, I can type in the answer here as well. All right, I can submit my answer, and of course, I get to know if my answer is correct or not right after I submit the answer to each question. This is how students work on assignments. Depending on your policies, depending on how you set the rules of your question, the students will be able to complete that following the instructions that you have set for them. So at the end of the chapter, students can also review their score. Once they have completed everything, they get to see their scores and so on. And they also get to see the results by study objective as well, if students already complete the assignment. And for instructors, you also get to see progress of your students. So let me go back to instructor view. And going back to the instructor view, okay, so now this is all my students and everything, right? If I go ahead and click next, I should be able to see the correct answer since I'm actually logged in as instructor. Now, how do I know, or where do I get the grades? I mean, the progress, the results of the assignment coming from the students' submission. So if I go back, let me close this Wileyplus. Back to my Spectrum course, I go back to engineering mechanics. Okay, if I click the link, this will bring me to the whole Wileyplus platform. Instructors not only have access to prepare and present, okay, this tab only available for instructors, but students will also have read, study, and practice and assignment, but a different view. Students will have access to gradebook where they get to see their own scores. But for instructors, you also have access to gradebook, but you get to see your students' scores as well. So if I click gradebook, now I'm logged in as an instructor. I can see that in this particular content, I have created 2 assignments. This is the assignment that we've just created. I can view the student scores specific to my class, and then I can just show all per page and then click search. At this point, I don't have actual students in my class right here, so I don't get to see the scores, but I can actually view the results based on the students' submission. So I get to see if there are 40 students enrolled in my class. I can pull the grades from Wileyplus gradebook, and then I can go ahead. It's loading. I think I'm not so sure. Maybe there are also activities ongoing while I do the demo. But you will be able to see and view your students' grades in your gradebook tab within Wileyplus. The great thing for you to know as well, the gradebooks, the scores here in gradebook will also be synchronized in the grade center of your Moodle course. So for example, if you go into Wileyplus, you have the gradebook. Okay, so now I see students. I think these are students also in here. So I get to see all the students enrolled. And then are these students? I'm not sure if these are students or instructors, but yeah. So you get to see here something like this, all your actual students and their scores in your week 1, in your practice, and so on. You can do that. But you can also refer to your Spectrum grades to view the students' scores. So as you can see here in Spectrum, back to your course in Spectrum, under grades, all right? If I go to grades, it's now pulling up the report for all the grades of the students enrolled in my class. It synchronizes with your Wileyplus gradebook. So let me see and try that again. So it's still loading. Let me close the rest of my tabs here. Right, so I'm trying to load my grades, but it seems that it's loading for now. But okay, I have an issue with communicating with the server, but I'll try that again. Right, but you will be able to find, okay, so let me try and log back into Spectrum. I don't know if it's with my connection or is it with my connection with Spectrum. Are you still with me in the call? So let me see if I still have. Okay. Right. Seems that I cannot log into Spectrum again. Okay. Let me try another browser. I'll try to log in again and see if I can go back to my course. I don't know if, I'm not sure if the IT team or someone on the back end, maybe if you can check, because I'm encountering an error logging into Spectrum earlier. I don't know, but yeah, you can check on that later. Again, when you go into viewing your students' grades and so on, you can view that in the Wileyplus gradebook. You can also view the grades when you go into your Spectrum grades section. Spectrum course, under the grades section, you'll also be able to view the grades. There's a synchronization in terms of gradebook, both Wileyplus and Spectrum. Let me see that here again. I can't seem to log in. All right. Yeah, I'm not so sure if there's a connection error on my part here, trying to communicate to Spectrum server. I'm not so sure, but yeah. Any questions do you have at this point while we try to wait for the server connection issue resolved? Any questions for me at this point with regards to the assignment?
Ms. Rojhelyn, it's not related to the assignment, but Dr. Shazri asked, do the students need to register new account on Vitalsource?
That's a good question. For first-time users of Vitalsource, they need to create an account. The account is important for them to be able to save all their activities like highlights and notes, etc. So for first-time users, they'll have to create an account. But if you already have an existing Vitalsource account, for example, then you just have to log in with your existing account. But I believe for most of the students, they probably don't have a Vitalsource account, so they will need to create an account through Vitalsource. And we recommend that they use the same account when they log into Spectrum. Okay? Let me try again. See, I still couldn't connect to the server. I'm not so sure, but I'm also just mindful of the time. But I think that's just about what I'm trying to demo with regard to Wileyplus. I'm open for questions at this point.
There's one question from Dr. Tengku Farhana. Can the account differentiate us as teachers or students?
Again, that's a very good question. The accounts, whether you have a teacher role or a student role, that really depends on your role in Spectrum. So meaning to say, if you're enrolled in Spectrum as an instructor, for the first time when you access Wileyplus, your account in Wileyplus will be created as an instructor. Right? So that is important that you are enrolled as an instructor in Spectrum, because the way we explain it is that Wileyplus is in Spectrum. So we follow the user role you have in Spectrum that will indicate your user role in Wileyplus. So if your role in Spectrum is an instructor in that particular course, then your access to Wileyplus will be the instructor access as well, where you get to see all the instructor materials and all. For students, if their role in Spectrum is students, then they only get to access the students' resources with student user role in Wileyplus as well.
All right. I'm checking the chat area now. There is no more question in the chat area.
Yeah, I think I've shared a lot of things within the 2 hours and a half. Of course, we will be providing the user guides and manuals together with the files, the Excel files, for you to start, building your courses through the ISBNs and product IDs. We will be sharing it to you as well. And there is one more thing that I'd like to share, I think, before anything else, because this is also very important. Let me go back to my slides. Demo, okay. So we have instructor and student support available 24/7. So whenever there are issues with Wileyplus, so we have live chat available 24/7 through this link, all right? And we also have an email. You can drop an email to wileysupport@wiley.com whenever you have issues. So 24/7 available support. Our team is based in the US for the.
So the connection problem you have in Spectrum. Our IT team suggests that you open a new session with incognito.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So I'll try that in a while.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. I haven't tried it, but I'll try it again later. Yeah. But if the issue is fixed, I think that should be okay. All right. I just want to flash this out to everyone. I think this is also very important, and as we go with digital and with technology, there will still be issues like what we've just encountered earlier about the network connection issue. So it's the same thing for instructors and students, most especially while you are working from home or you're studying from home. Whenever you have issues with Wileyplus, etc., with Vitalsource regarding digital textbooks, please note that our support is available 24 by 7. And these are important links for you to take note of. You can speak to someone via live chat for Wileyplus support, or you can drop an email to wileysupport@wiley.com. Again, this is available for instructors and students. And whenever you have issues with Wiley digital textbooks or Vitalsource, like earlier, the question about how come I cannot set up or I cannot install the Vitalsource bookshelf app. It's not allowing me to proceed to the next step, so on and so forth. We have Vitalsource support available. There's a live chat option as well, and some helpful links. You can speak to someone via live chat through our Vitalsource support, as available 24 by 7. So if you cannot reach anyone from ADEC or from the IT team or from Wiley, we suggest that you send a report with your issues to the following links, to Wileyplus and to Vitalsource support, available 24 by 7. All right. Yep, so I think that is the end of the presentation. I'm not sure if you have further questions, but let me try this again. I haven't tested. Let me try. I use the the Cognito. All right, let me try this again. All right, now I can see here. Let me go back to the sample integrated course. Just now we created the assignment right here, and I was trying to show you the gradebook under Wileyplus. That should be here in Wileyplus. But okay, that's the gradebook. Let me show you the gradebook, and it will now display all the students right here. And what you will see here, there are 2 assignments created, and it will create a column per assignment to show the students' grades. Now in Spectrum, you will also be able to see the grades of all your Wileyplus assignments created. And in grades right here in Spectrum on your course page, you click grades. It should now show you the Wileyplus assignments links as well with the student scores. Right. It's still loading on my end. I'm not sure, is it because there are 1,000 or 2,000 students enrolled right here? Yeah. Oh yeah, so there are 35,000, so that answers probably the question why. So you can see from here that if you have 40 students enrolled in your class, you will see here the students' names, their email address, and so on. And as you move your page here, all the exercises that you've created also will create a column, right? And the scores will also be displayed right here as well. Okay? So you can auto grading capability, gradebook synchronization capability with Spectrum or Moodle as an LMS will be available. You can view from here, or you can simply just view from the Wileyplus link, which is in the link that you've created. You can also view the reports from the grade book. And right in the gradebook, you will be able to, download a copy of the gradebook. So let's say, for example, I'll just click search right here. And then once you have all the scores displayed, there is an option for you to download a copy of the gradebook. Then you can save it in your own keeping. So that's where you will be able to view the grades of your students based on their submission from the assignments or activities that you have assigned to them. All right. It's taking some time to load again because the number of students enrolled in this demo class is too huge. Normally, the standard size is maybe 40 to 50 students per class. or less than 100, so that should be manageable. Right. So any questions for me at this point?
I'm checking the chat area. There's no question in the chat area.
Right. Okay. So if there are no questions, I'm also mindful of the time. I think we're just on time with the 12:30. We're all heading for lunch, I guess, after this. So yeah. So again, this is a continued collaboration with ADEC and with the Spectrum team as well, and with Dr. Cassia. So we continue to communicate and collaborate. So if there's anything that you need help with from Wiley, training, onboarding, we're excited to work with you. So please feel free to let us know, and we'll be happy to provide assistance. This partnership is really valuable to us. All right. So I think that's about it. I'll send over the materials after this session.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Rojhelyn. And I think Angela is not here already, right?
Yeah, I think she jumped out of the call already. Yep. Again, thank you very much, Dr. Zahir, and all those who arranged for this session. Thank you once again. Look forward to the students training in the afternoon.
Yes. I'll
Thank
see
you,
you
Roj.
again at 3 p.m.
Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good lunch, and take care. Stay
Thank you.
safe as well.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Take
We will
care.
send you the manual files later to everyone. No
All
worries.
right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Có gì